Well, I thought I'd do a quick video since I am updating my flashlights for the first time in 35, 40 years. I use Maglites. I've used Maglites since the early 80s. They are a high quality flashlight, heavy grade aluminum. They can take a serious beating, and they've proven that over and over again. If you're going to have a flashlight that you might need, stay away from the dollar store specials. Get a real flashlight. And that's what these are. You know, dependable. You know, I reach for a flashlight, I need it to work. I keep these in vehicles, clipped to walls, in toolboxes, tool bags, all that kind of stuff. And I don't like cheap flashlights. I don't want to have to deal with something that flickers, that dies, that if I drop it once, it's done. You know, those are fine for, you know, I need a flashlight right now and I'm stuck at a gas station, whatever, grab one, fine. But for real flashlights, you need something decent. This one, for instance, I picked up at a tag sale a couple years ago for $5. It had batteries in it. It was working. Why someone would sell it that cheap, I don't know. Pure stupidity, I'm guessing, but that's okay. I'll take it. I have a lot of them. My originals have long since worn out and been replaced. The newest flashlight here is probably this one, which is under 10 years old. The rest of them are going to be 20, 25 years old, around in there. Somewhere in that vicinity, except this one. This one might be about 12, 13, 14, around in there. Anyway, you know, these are the D-cell flashlights. They sell C-cells, AA's, AAA's, rechargeables. I don't like rechargeables because I like to be able to throw a full load into battery load quickly in there if needed. I don't want to wait for flashlights to recharge. I don't want to worry about flashlights decharging while they sit around. Just don't like them. For my flashlights, I like to have regular batteries in them. But what I wanted to do was upgrade to the new 300 series flashlights because they have economy mode. There's multiple modes in these flashlights. They're purpose-built LEDs, and they have high beam, medium beam, low beam. So if you don't need the super bright light for something, you can put it to economy and save money on batteries. You know, in economy mode, the battery life is weeks in these things, which is ridiculous, but it is. Whereby on these you're stuck with one mode and pretty much, you know, you can retrofit to LED, but even those bulbs are not as bright as these ones are. These all work, and I'm not throwing them out. Don't think that. I'm going to take the batteries out of them. They're already greased up. And by the way, when you grease the caps, you should grease the caps on these, not grease. The company recommends you use Vaseline, petroleum jelly, Vaseline, to grease up your caps so they don't stick and, you know, lock on you. These are aluminum. They can corrode if you're not careful, especially if you have a battery issue at some point. The heads don't come off on these ones. They do on these. You got to lube that too in there. And let me see if I can get one of these to work. I mean, that's not work. I know they work. They have a quick adjustable. See? Oops. There we go. That's the most you can do in that. There's no more endless turning trying to find the spot beam. You got it right there. With 2 fingers I can do it. And let me see if I can do the modes. Okay, turn it off. You have to quick click it for the modes. 1, 2, 3. See it? That's economy right there. Even in economy, it's still brighter than those are with a regular incandescent bulb. 1, 2, 3. That's full. Let's see, 1, 2. Middle of the road, I guess. And there you go. But that saves money on flashlights. There's no bulbs to replace in these. They're not serviceable, not the bulbs. If it stops working, you send it back to Mag. They have a 10-year warranty on it. Beyond the 10 years, you pay them to fix it. These are not cheap flashlights, not these ones. You can get these relatively inexpensively. These ones are not cheap yet. But I depend on flashlights. I need them to work 100% of the time. I can't screw around. And this is their new tactical light. That's what they call it, not me. I guess it's because of the finish. It's got the button on the back, and it has spot. You can just hold the button down for momentary use. And this has an economy mode too. Click it twice, and it's on all the time. And see if I can get that irritating there. And they do this. I don't know really the purpose of this, except maybe to signal, you know, passing aircraft or whatever. I don't know. If you're in trouble, hey, help me. If you do this to try to distract an attacker, hey, it might work if you don't have any other means of defending yourself. Because the tactical light, I guess this head here is meant to be slammed into somebody's flesh and make it really hurt. You do that and somebody's eyes are going to shoot you just to make you stop. So be careful of that. But that's their new tactical light. It's got a belt clip on it. This one's on my belt. This one's going to be in one of my tool bags. The only reason I don't carry this on the belt, it has a lot of the same features as the so-called tactical light, including that irritating, let's see if I can get it, no, signal. Still learning how to use it. This does a flashy thing too. But anyway, this one is instant on. And what happens when I push this into the sheath, the belt sheath, my finger tends to touch the button and it ends up going on, so we don't want that. So I'm going to clip this one into one of my tool bags, which is where I need it. And they have this now, which I bought just for the novelty of it. This is a little piece that it takes the place of the cap, extends the flashlight, and you can carry things in here like waterproof matches, your medication, cash, whatever you want. You know, the battery, the bottom cap unscrews, and there's a little chamber in here, about the size, a little bit bigger than the D-cell battery. And you can carry stuff in there for emergencies, which is nice. You know, if you're walking and you need your pills, or you know, you need a few extra bucks to buy coffee, whatever, it's in the flashlight. Just for the cool factor, I don't really need that, but I figured while I'm buying all this crap from Mag anyway, why not? There's my keychain lights. That's the solitaire, the little tiny one, also LED. This is the big 6-cell. The largest they carry. You know, the only difference in them, all the 300 series are the same light except for finish. They all have the same features, the economy mode, all of that stuff, and the quick turn head. Extra batteries just gives you extra capacity. And let's face it, a flashlight like this is a hell of a thumper if you actually need it. You're walking in the park and someone tries to take your wallet, you could really lay a beating on them with something like this. I'm not recommending that, but you can. Any police officer will tell you that they can be used that way. This is a special tip on there, and this is made for breaking glass. It'll also break other things. And I figured I would try it, see how good it is on there. Takes the place of the battery of the regular end cap on the Mag flashlight. Mag doesn't make this, you have to get it aftermarket. But I figure I'll put that on there in case it should ever be needed for anything. AA, we all know these, they've been around for years. This is the LED version. I've had this for a while, which is what convinced me to go with the 300 series lights. This is not 300 series, this is the Mini Mag. This still has the infinitely adjustable head on it. And I guess these flashlights, these ones, are going to take the place of this eventually. But these still have uses. This is a good toolbox size. They're bright as the sun. And of course, this is the 4-cell. We have a 4-cell, 6-cell, and a 2-cell. I'm probably going to end up with more eventually as time goes on, but this is the start. I'm not retiring all of my incandescent lights, and I'm certainly not throwing them out, as I think I mentioned that, maybe not, but I'm not throwing them out or selling them. They're going to go in a box nicely, and if what you have to do on these things is grease these caps with the Vaseline. Always use petroleum jelly, do not use grease. To make sure they don't stick, and to keep the rubber O-rings in there pliable, all that stuff, once a year or so, you put some Vaseline on the threads. On these older flashlights, you do the head, you do the cap up here, and the cap down there. 3 places. That's all you got to do, and it'll last forever. And you don't do that with this, only the cap on the bottom. These you can't take the heads off, just the bottom cap. Now, a word about batteries. If you use, a flashlight a lot, you probably should dump the batteries every 6 months, even if they're not dead. Just dump them so you always have fresh batteries. If you use it a lot, maybe every 2 months, but normal, occasional use, every 6 months, dump the batteries. What I do is I take the batteries that still have juice in them. Instead of wasting them, I use them in a portable radio that takes D-cells. I have one, and I use them up that way. And this way, there's always fresh batteries in the flashlights when I need them. It's always there. I know I can reach for it. It's going to have fresh batteries. In the case of the 300 series, it's good for a long time. I'm going to put these in a box. Now, some of these have already been converted, like this one, for instance, is still working. This is not going into storage because I haven't got a replacement for this one yet, but this is LED. It's got not an aftermarket. It's got, yeah, it is, I guess, a replacement LED bulb kit in there. You can see it's been used quite a bit. It's been around a long time. This is probably this is from actually Mac Tools. This is going to be easily a 20-year-old flashlight. And it's been used heavily since then, every single day, pretty much. Around the shop, we use that one. I'm going to put the old ones, like this is still incandescent bulb, in a box, put them away, all nice and greased up, no batteries in them. This way, should they ever be needed, they're there. I do not know if the new 300 series, now obviously there's going to be some kind of a computer chip in there, you know, to work that whole programming thing you do with the button and all that stuff. I don't know if those are EMP hardened. I have no idea if they'll survive that. Really don't know much, you know, if they will. If they don't, if ever, God forbid, that day comes, and I have to find out if they survive an EMP, I want to know that I have a backup, and I do. I'm not throwing any of my mags out. I probably have 20 mag flashlights. You know, like I said, I buy them at flea markets, take sale. I see a mag selling for under 10 bucks. I'm probably going to buy it, you know, just to have extra parts or just to have another extra flashlight. Never have too many good flashlights. You know, when you need them, you need them. You keep one next to the bed. You keep one on the wall by the door. You keep one in the kitchen drawer. You keep one in the car, the garage. The list is endless where you might need a flashlight. But a word about the batteries, though. Lately, I've been having issues with batteries. I've been using Duracell for a long time. The last year and a half or so, I've had 2 or 3 flashlights with relatively fresh batteries suddenly develop battery leaks. Not good. I found it purely by chance because I check my flashlights frequently because I am somewhat paranoid about batteries. And I check them. You know, once every couple months I used to do it. I would just open the flashlights, check the batteries, make sure everything was still fresh, put it back in. I started finding wetness on the batteries. The batteries were leaking, and I caught them in time so they did not destroy my flashlights, because if they do destroy the flashlight, then you have to send it back to Duracell. Now, I know a Duracell executive. He's a customer of mine, and he gave me a card with, you know, the information on where to send anything that the batteries ruin. So I know they'll take care of it, but that's not the point. You're out a flashlight then. You know, you're out something you depend on, and that's never good. You know, it's like a broken tool. Yeah, okay, the manufacturer warranties the tool forever maybe. Doesn't help you in a week and a half to 2 weeks while you're waiting for the dealer to show up, or you sent it in the mail to get it back. You're without the tool. You don't want that to happen. So what I've been doing is slowly transitioning to Energizer. Energizer still has D-cells made in this country, in the USA. These are only assembled here. Duracell is assembled here out of global components from who knows where. That could be the issue. I don't know. Don't care. It's doing it. So I'm going to give Energizer a try. There's no reason why I use the copper tops anyway. It's just habit. Force of habit for many years. It's what I reach for on a shelf, you know, and a lot of local retailers happen to carry them. So, yeah, but I buy my batteries online now so I can get the commercial grade. Now, there is no difference between the commercial battery and the regular copper top. I heard that directly from the company executive. It's just the packaging. These are packaged in boxes like that. They're made for corporations and large end users that use a lot of batteries, and they buy them, you know, buy the 12-pack or the 24-pack or the 72-pack, whatever. And these are in the blister packs, although this one actually came in a box too, so I don't know. Only difference is the wrapper. That's it. Same battery inside. Same exact battery. There's no miracle, you know, supercharging in these or anything like that just because it's, say, Pro Cell. If anybody says otherwise, they're full of crap. It's just a regular battery. And my use of them has borne that out. They last about the same amount of time. You know, or actually the same amount of time. But I'm transitioning to Energizer. Give them a shot and see what happens with those. I have them in a few flashlights now. As my Duracells get used up, I'll replace them with the Energizers, and we'll go from there and see what happens. And notably, Maglite, on those lights where they sell you a package with the batteries, they include Energizers. So maybe they're trying to tell me something. I don't know. But we'll see. But I've gone to checking my flashlights once a month now, just out of sheer paranoia. And if I don't use a flashlight a lot, I don't keep batteries in it. I keep them next to the flashlight. There's plenty of flashlights I have around that I may use once a year. There's a blister pack of batteries or a little bag of batteries next to the flashlight, not in the flashlight. It only takes a second or two, you know, to pop the batteries in there and screw the cap down, and you're good to go. You don't want to do that with a flashlight you use every day or every week or whatever, your belt lights and stuff like that for obvious reasons. But flashlights you don't use too often, like one that's kept for, say, a hurricane emergency or something that's in your earthquake kit or something like that. Keep the batteries out of the light. Keep them in the factory packaging. If you bought a blister pack of 2 or 4 batteries or whatever, keep them in the packaging. This way you're good to go, and just unpack them, throw them in the light when you need it, and you don't have to worry about the batteries leaking and destroying your flashlight while it's in storage when you're not watching it. So I will do that, you know. But I use, like I said, I use flashlights a lot. So a lot of my flashlights do keep the batteries in them. Like this one gets used every day. These ones will be too. You know, I don't want to have to be fumbling with batteries on something I'm constantly using, but I do want to keep an eye on them. don't like the fact that they've been leaking in there. And that's troubling. That's troubling. But Energizer, D cells are made in USA, so maybe that's a difference. Maybe it's a higher quality battery. We're going to find out over time. It's going to take years, I guess, to determine, but we'll learn, or I'll learn anyway. You'll have to do your own experiments. Maglites are guaranteed for 10 years. That means you buy it new, 10 years, parts and labor, no problem. You send it back to the company. They're not going to help you with blown up batteries. That's the battery manufacturer's problem. They're not going to help you if you thumped somebody's skull with it and bent it. That's your problem. And beyond the 10 years, they won't cover it, but they'll fix it and you pay. In the 10 years, things like, say, it's the bulb goes bad, it stops working. It's not a bulb, but it's an element, I guess they call it. The switch, stuff like that. Manufacturing defects, which frankly, I've never had happen. I've had Maglites fixed, but not because of a manufacturing defect, just that they simply wore out. I used them so much, I wore out switches, things, the threads I think once went bad in one of them. No, it wasn't the threads. What was it? It was something. Something with the reflector. I forget what it was, but they fixed it, sent it back, no problem. It's back in service. They're pretty good turnaround too. And aircraft grade aluminum flashlights, they're not lightweight. They're heavily built to last a lifetime, and they are a precision instrument. They are not a cheap throwaway. Very, very bright. These LEDs are incredibly bright. Yeah, there are brighter flashlights around. Surefire Systems has those little lights similar to these ones that are a bit more expensive, and they're like 1,000 lumens. That's a bit more than I need. Yeah, my glasses may be getting thicker, but I'm not 1,000 lumens blind yet. Not yet. We're not there. These are like 360 or 400 lumens, whatever they are. And these are a bit more, I think, 650, something like that. They're bigger flashlights. What else was I going to cover here? Well, I guess that's getting pretty much it. And they do come AA, AAA, C size, which I don't have any of those, I don't think. And D cells. D cells start with 2, 4. There's a 5 cell I don't have here, I don't think, do I? No. Yes, I do. This is a 5 cell. 3 cells, and the 6 cell, these two here, the 6 cell is the biggest one they have. They don't do anything with 6-volt lantern batteries or anything like that. Those types of flashlights are not something they carry. They don't need to. They deal with these. They have belt loops you can buy for these things. You want to carry it bouncing off your belt, which I do not, except for the little ones. Sheaths are available. The keychain lights, which are incredibly bright. I don't have the batteries in them right now, so I'm not going to demonstrate those. These little things that fit everywhere, if you don't want to buy one, these are expensive. If you don't want to buy one of these are not expensive. You can get them under 20 bucks, I think. And they're good, a lot of gift sets, things like that. And they're good. They're good lights, they're the old style. You can get the ones with the incandescent bulbs or the LEDs like this one. You can get kits to convert to LED, your old flashlights. They're not quite as bright as the purpose-made ones, and they don't have the programming and the switch, obviously. It's just going to be one beam, whatever it is you get. That's it, the regular one. But you can do that. And like I said, this one was. The other ones, I don't believe I did any of those. No, see, that's the old beam. That's your incandescent bulb in there. You see the brightness difference? Well, anybody who's been around a long time knows what an incandescent bulb and a flashlight is. Great in the day. This was a serious piece of gear back when it first came out in 1979, 1980. And it really hasn't been surpassed. Your cheap flashlight manufacturers are still making cheap flashlights. Most of them are LED now. But when I need to have light on something, I absolutely have to have a good light, a dependable light, and it has to work 100% of the time. And I don't want to be fumbling around with something that's going to be flickering, and if I drop it, it breaks, and all that crap. Got to be good stuff. Got to be good stuff when it comes to flashlights. That's one thing I don't compromise on. I'll spend whatever I have to spend to make sure I have a good light. I almost went with a Surefire Systems for the belt light there. But then I realized there's not a lot of difference between the two of them except lumens and all of that. And really, I don't need one. I'm not a law enforcement professional. I'm not military. I don't need that particular level of gear. This will do just fine. This is actually more than I need. This is actually a bit more. But I got to learn how many times to click it to get it to work where I want it to work. But these lights, they're awesome lights. I've tested them at night. They're very bright. And they're going to be distributed to some of the spots I use them, and some of these will remain in service where they're needed because I just cannot afford to go out and replace every single Maglite I use. With the 300 series, much as I would like to, they're still too new a flashlight, and they're kind of expensive. So, we'll wait on that. And I still don't know, like I said, I'm not an expert on EMP or anything like that. So I don't know if a flashlight that has computer chips in it would survive an EMP. Hope I never, ever have to find out. But with all this pandemic crap going on, a lot of things that I thought might not happen in my lifetime all of a sudden are. And I'm starting to rethink, my opinions on some of that, opinions of what might be a feasible scenario happening in my lifetime, what is something that might happen far in the future. So things like EMP have taken on a new importance. So if something ever happens to these, I have these. Like I said, they're going to be stored away. They're already all nice and lubricated up and ready for storage, except the ones I'm going to keep using. Put them in a box, put them away. They're there if I need them. And if, I don't, hey, that's great. They'll still be there. Maybe one day I'll sell them as antiques. I have probably every color spectrum that, most of my used flashlights are black, but I have like the digital pattern. I've got red ones, blue ones, bronze one. I think it's bronze. I have one that's a high polished aluminum. I think there's green in there, a lot. Pretty much every color spectrum. Like I said, I see them selling cheap. I find it hard to resist. It's like finding something like a nice, good quality wrench in a bucket full of crap, and labeled for $1. You're gonna buy it, A Snap-on wrench in a bucket full of made in China junk or whatever. So of course you're gonna grab that Snap-on made in USA wrench for $1. Why not? Same thing with the flashlights. I see them selling cheap. Hey. If I buy it for $3 or $4 and all I get out of it is a good reflector or a good lens or a spare end cap because they get beat up, that's great because I can buy all that stuff from Mag Instruments, but that costs quite a lot of money with shipping and everything else, so try to avoid having to do that. But there you go. I think I covered everything. Batteries, the different lights, the modes of operation. I did show that, right? Let's see if I do it again. That's your 300 series. The letters codes change different battery types, but 1, 2, 3. Look at that one. I love that economy mode. That's going to save me a lot of money because you can see even on economy, which is rated to last weeks in this flashlight, of continuous use, that is still brighter than the incandescent bulb in the regular Maglite. So that's considerable savings right there. The flashlights will pay for themselves in probably about a year. Just in the savings on batteries alone, because I don't buy cheap batteries, even if I am having problems with these ones. And, I don't like having to go through too many batteries if I can help it. All right, there you go. Just a look at the new Maglites. Go out and get yourself a decent flashlight if you don't have one. Trust me, you'll thank me later.